So you've just been told to photograph your athletic facilities. The lighting sucks, the rooms feel like caves, and every angle makes the space feel smaller than it actually is. Yeah, I've been there before, so let's fix that. What's up, everybody? Jaron Fritz, aka Freeza Visuals. I'm the creative director for Colorado State Athletics with multiple years of professional sports and photography experience. And today, I am reshooting our men's basketball facilities, top to bottom. I'll take you through my full approach, the gear I trust, the camera settings that get it done, how I find clean compositions in tight spaces, and the full post-processing workflow that brings it all together. Now, there is a difference between shooting a brand new locker room reveal and a more real estate style informational wide-angle shoot. Today, these photos could end up in a website, recruiting packet, or an orientation PowerPoint presentation that nobody reads. So if you're interested, let's head into the locker room. First up, grab a camera. Next, a tripod, which, yes, is my childhood nickname back home. Then, it's all about lighting. Either flip on everything you've got, or if you're in a setup like ours, choose your vibe. Our locker room can glow in any color, but today we're keeping it classic with green. I know this is some revolutionary advice, but clean the area. Nothing says prestigious D1 program like some red Crocs in the middle of the floor. Time to channel your inner real estate agent. You'll want a wide angle lens. I'm using a 16 to 25 millimeter, which is just wide enough to make the room feel spacious without turning everything into a fisheye fever dream. Camera settings wise, begin with a balanced exposure to avoid clipping in the highlights or shadows. Set your drive mode to continuous bracketing with an exposure value shift of 1. You can choose either 3 or 5 images. I ended up choosing 5 to allow myself some greater flexibility. If you have done all of those steps, click the shutter and you should hear something like this. Alright, 30-second timeout on the play. What exactly did we just do? Basically, we activated a drive mode that fires off 5 shots in a row, each at different exposures. One's 2 stops under, one's 1 stop under, one's properly exposed. You get the idea. We do this so that later in Lightroom we can blend those 5 exposures into one clean, well-lit shot. It gives us a final image with way more dynamic range than we could have ever pulled off with just a single photo, especially in tough lighting. I'll show you how to combine these images in Lightroom at the end of the video. However, there is still a lot more to learn and shoot. I already had the entrance locked in, so it only made sense to work my way around and grab each side. After those last shots, I had to go to the bathroom to get some photos. Getting your camera height right is key. I'm 6'4" and I've got mine set around my chest level. It might be a bit high for some rooms, but with the taller ceilings in the men's basketball area, it felt like the right call. The general rule of thumb, however, is around light switch height. Over in the film room, I made sure to grab a few different angles. If a space feels important, it's totally worth showing it off from multiple perspectives. And in athletic facilities, there will always be some cool signage worth capturing. In the players' lounge, you really start to see how bracketing pays off. This space has more of that traditional real estate look, clean lines, even lighting, and the photo merge handles it perfectly. Here's a side-by-side, one standard exposure and one built from 5 bracketed shots. The difference? Brighter, smoother, and way more polished. There's this very zen recovery room, Normatex, a massage setup, and yes, some actual sleeping pods. I kept it moody and dim on purpose. Brightening this space would have felt like turning the lights on in a movie theater mid-scene, a jailable offense. Once I wrapped up in the locker room, I made my way over to the indoor practice facility. The players have a 24/7 access gym in there, and lucky for me, there was some nice natural light coming through the corner. Perfect for giving the space a clean, bright feel. I headed to the other side to capture that make a statement wall wrap. To wrap up the shoot, I captured 2 final angles of the weight room. With everything in the bag, it's time to move into post-production. Let's hop into Lightroom Classic, and I'll walk you through the full process of merging those bracketed exposures into a polished final image that you've been seeing. After you upload your photos to Lightroom Classic, when you scroll through, you should see something like this. Dark and light variants of the photos you've just taken. Let's start simple. This shot of the player's lounge is probably the easiest one of the day. You've got your 5 exposures lined up, 2 under, 1 properly, and 2 over. Shift click to select all 5, then head up to Photo, Photo Merge, HDR. Once that HDR menu pops up, you'll see a few options. These are the same settings I use every time, and after the preview loads, hit merge. Lightroom will blend all 5 into one balanced shot. Once it's done, you'll have a nicely exposed image with a few auto adjustments already applied in the basic panel. You might need to fine tune it a bit. For example, I bumped up the brightness just a touch, and that was it. It looks good to me. Now heading over to a bigger space like a gym might be more difficult. I went through the same process as before: photo, photo merge, HDR. However, when it loaded in, it still needed a lot of help. The good part of bracketing is when we did the photo merge, we still have a lot of information to play with when it comes down to masks. Before we jump into masks, however, I made a few quick base edits. I bumped up the overall brightness, dialed in the white balance, and after tweaking it, the image started to feel a little too cool for my taste. So I added a mask just to warm up the court and bring back some of that natural wood feel. Just to show the difference again, here's a properly exposed image of the gym next to the photo merged and edited version. Way more detail, way more balanced, a big upgrade. That's a wrap on this little walkthrough from dimly lit locker rooms to polished Lightroom edits. We talked about gear, settings, composition, and somewhere in there, maybe you found something useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the comments with what you'd like to see next. Until next time.